Epic battles have erupted. Strategies have been planned, calculated risks taken, and races have been won and lost. The gladiators of Australian superbikes have laid the foundation for what is fast becoming known as the factory teams versus the privateers, the giants versus the mere mortals. Heart, will, and desire will prevail as the 2011 Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship prepares for round 3. Round 1 saw Glenn Allerton stare adversity in the face when the factory teams left him without a ride. The New South Wales racer pulled a team of willing and enthusiastic talented people to form a unified and strong alliance under leader Wayne Hepburn of Hepburn Motorsport. BMW was their choice of weaponry and winning was their only goal. Allerton proved to outsmart his rivals by choosing to run slicks in damp conditions for race 1. By the end of the race, he'd won by 20 seconds. Ensuring that he proved that he could win in all conditions, he went on to win race 2 in the dry. Troy Herfoss, the rookie superbike racer, took second overall. Ben Attard finished third, which was Aprilia's first podium finish since their inception in 2010. Wayne Maxwell again claimed pole in round 2, making 2 from 2, and was desperate to claw back some points after finishing a disappointing 10th overall at Phillip Island. Young gun Josh Waters made his first appearance in the domestic championship after missing the first round due to World Superbike commitments.
Start your engines.
Race 1 was a close fought affair. After leading early, Allerton ran into a brake adjustment problem and was soon caught. A 5-way battle for the lead ensued, with riders swapping positions lap after lap as they dove deep under brakes from the 270km/h back straight. 2009 champion Josh Waters had his eyes on the main prize and stormed into the lead on lap 16 after claiming the lap record earlier in the race. Maxwell wasn't finished though and threw everything at Waters on the final lap, coming up short by 0.48 of a second.
3, 2, 1, rhythm.
In race 2, Maxwell took the lead from pole and controlled the race until mid-distance when Allerton pounced. The power of the BMW S 1000RR, only too apparent on the back straight sweeper, clocked at over 270km/h. It's the fastest corner in Australian motorsport. Allerton finished a comfortable 1.4 seconds ahead. The battle will continue at round 3. Maxwell, Waters, Stelfer, Allerton, Herfoss, Bugden, Coxall, Attard.
Let's go.
The QBE Supersport Championship pace is intense and frighteningly fast. Respect is shown, but winning is proving to be the first thing on everyone's mind. There seems to be a take-no-prisoners attitude, and everyone is out to prove themselves. A storm of rivalry has swept through and made the racing a thrilling spectacle. It was Aaron Gobert who led the championship of round 1, his speed on the damp track proving too fast for any rival to match. It truly was a show of brilliance. By round 2, things had not settled, and the opening lap of race 1 proved that the take-no-prisoners attitude lingered amongst the competitors. Casella aboard the Triumph took the overall in round 2 and the lead in the championship heading into round 3. QBE presents the 2011 Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship. A new hero will rise.
Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championships from the top end of Australia. We're here in Darwin, and it's not only the unique melting pot of cultures and people and the laid-back lifestyle that's been well received by our riders, it's also this magnificent weather. Your commentators Ken Wooden and Kevin McGee are standing by to call all the action from qualifying and Superpole for round 3.
Supersport qualifying underway. Mitchell Carr on the Triumph, really ruffling a few feathers there. Nick Waters, the younger of the 3 Waters brothers racing this weekend. All of them having to contend with some pretty demanding conditions out there, Kevin McGee.
Yeah, about mid-30s for the air temperature, Ken. And
hovering around 50s for the track temperature, so pretty hot, bit slick, and on top of that 98% humidity.
Yeah, hard to know whether it suits the young chargers like Rick Olsen or his teammate Kevin Curtin, who raced here way back in 1998. But Curtin topping the timesheet after regular qualifying, fastest ever lap around this 2.9 kilometre circuit by a Supersport machine. Superbikes, a bit more of the same, fastest ever laps being recorded, something like 1.6 seconds quicker than what the V8 supercar lap record is, and wouldn't be easy throwing a 200 horsepower, 160 kilogram motorcycle around this track in those sort of conditions.
Yeah, keep on top of it, and be a lot of skating around, you know, like the bike could be really loose underneath you.
Well, you've raced in hot, humid conditions like this, Kevin, at Suzuka 8 Hour. Must be very draining for the riders.
Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously you lose a lot of body fluids, but you just got to, the biggest thing is you got to keep your head together, because that's where, you know, the helmet, I used to sit up a little bit down the back straight to get a bit more wind through the helmet, like through the vents. Just keep that head a bit cool under the pressure, and that's what you've got to do. Just got to keep the act together.
Well, one man responding well to the pressure, Glenn Allerton there on the Procon Maxima BMW. Robbie Bugden on screen. But it was Josh Waters who topped the timesheet after regulation qualifying with a 107.385. Then it was Wayne Maxwell, Glenn Allerton, Ben Attard. That was your top four, but it was Waters at the top of the timesheet.
It's fast, it's intense, it's Super Pole, and it's coming up next. We asked some of the pace setters what it's like to lay it all on the line for that one flying lap.
You've got to have a lot of confidence in your bike, a lot of confidence in your rear tyre, because you're relying on that, because we only get one lap to actually scrub those two tyres in. And if your rear's not scrubbed properly, you're going to high side yourself and have a big crash.
There is a point for first that can be pretty important at the end of the year. But you still got a front row, so for the race, it's not really a big deal if you're fourth, because with this long straight, I don't think it'd matter.
Oh, I really enjoy it. We've put a lot of preparation into this, so we just go out there and put our head down and try and get that one lap together.
I think of it as an opportunity to go further up the grid in P3 right now, so if I go out there and put my best foot forward and do, improve on my time today, and you never know what might happen with the other guys. It's only one lap, so there's no second chances. You still get nervous before it, and it's hard because it's one lap and you can quite easily stuff it up and go back a lot of places.
I don't really think there's any pressure for me. If I do my job right, I'll know I'll be in the top four. So that's what we're shooting for.
Well, regardless of what you say, it sounds like a pretty high-pressure situation to me. Kevin, what would you say?
Yeah, they've pretty much got it all covered, but the one thing is it's really a lap that you do corner by corner. You can't stuff an entry, a mid-corner, or any of the exit-ups, and you just do it piece by piece, put the lap together, then you've done your best, and then you're happy with that, whether you're first or fourth.
What I don't understand, Kevin, is how these guys, and we've got Nick Waters on screen at the moment in the Motul Supersport Super Pole session. He's on his flying lap. Some of them actually set their quickest lap in this one-lap dash, having done 2:30 minutes of qualifying, yet they can go out here and go quicker in one 50, 60-second lap.
Yeah, because they know they've only got the one lap to do it, and it's there's a bit of ego and bragging rights and all that, and you've got to put it together and you just do your absolute best.
There's Rick Olsen, Kevin Curtin's teammate, heading out of the Motul Super Pole arch there. Nick Waters still on his lap. The way they run, it's quite exciting. One rider out on his flying lap while the other rider's heading out on his warm-up lap. But Nick Waters all out of shape there on his Sunstate Racing Suzuki GSXR 600. 17 years of age, Nick Waters, and it's no doubt what he wants. He wants the seat in the factory team that his two elder brothers have got. Looked like a reasonably neat hot lap there from Nick Waters. I guess you've got to have it doing a little bit of the hippie shake.
Yeah, of course, you're right on the limit. I mean, there's nothing left in it, and that's the idea of the red hot Super Pole lap.
Rick Olsen, first time in Super Pole, of course, coming into the Super Sport class this year, this Super Pole sequence. We haven't had it before, we've had it for Superbike, and while it doesn't affect the front row of the grid because there's only 4 riders competing in Super Sport in the Super Pole shootout, there's a whole lot of supers there, isn't there? But I guess there's that point for qualifying in pole, and that could be so important for the championship.
Yeah, it might be the advantage you need at the end of the year, and I mean, it is important, so that's why they're trying so hard again in this one hot lap. You've got nobody to gauge yourself off. You're out on the track on your own, so you've got to do all the work by yourself.
Third rider in the Super Sport just departing, Mitchell Carr on the Carr Brothers Racing Triumph. It's last year's model, actually. It's not the new model 675, but we'll get back to Mitchell Carr in a moment as Rick Olsen heads through to complete his Super Pole lap. He came out of FZ6 Cup racing a couple of years ago. Before that, he was a Super Motard rider. A little bit of a wild man a couple of seasons ago, but he's probably the effect of Kevin Curtin working on him there, calming him down. Certainly a rising talent as he gets the checkered flag. Unable to improve on his position in normal qualifying. Now Mitchell Carr out on track. Triumph, a different beast to the Yamaha. 3 cylinders, 675 cc's against the Yamaha 600 cc's. Different to ride, Kevin.
Yeah, the 4-cylinder R6. Real revvy, buzzy. You know, it's all up the top end of the power. And the 675 3-cylinder Triumph, it's a bit luggier, you know, it doesn't rev as much, but it's got about as much power. That's the good thing, but a lot easier to ride because of a much wider power band.
Of course, lap times very similar between the two. The Triumph, while it's got the extra capacity, also has to carry a little bit more weight as we head down to the last man in the Motul Super Sport Super Pole shootout. Kevin Curtin heading out on track as Mitchell Carr concludes his lap on the Triumph. Coming through the last couple of corners now. Quite challenging part of the track this. You've got a couple of corners, but you can make it nice, one sweeping curve. And the difficulty with Hidden Valley, I suppose, Kevin, these riders don't get a lot of time to practice there. No, exactly. But I guess everybody in that department's in the same boat. So this is the lap he's put together. What can he do? Will he end up on the front row? Kev Curtin heading past there to start his flyer. Well, a pretty good lap there for Mitchell Carr, a 1:11.272, puts him in good position, puts a lot of pressure on the most experienced man in the field. I believe that he was racing back at this circuit back in 1998, the very first time the circuit hosted bikes and V8 supercars all in the one meeting. Of course, he's got a couple of runner-up positions in the World Supersport Championship to his name since then, but still as fast as he was when he was a young pup. Yeah, exactly. A lot of experience with Kev Kurt just into that right-hander. He just went through. You could see him skating it in with the back just out of fraction, but and that's where that experience counts. He knows exactly what he needs to get away with. Can he stop the young bloke's charge forward or not? We'll see in a few seconds. Might be the oldest bloke in the field, but I reckon he's possibly the lightest as well. Looks like a greyhound. There's not much of him. Weighs a bit, fractionally over 60 kilos, he was saying. And that certainly helps on the 600s too in the Super Sport class. Heading around towards the end of his lap, nice and smooth as usual, Kev Curtin. Well, trying to get that point for pole, of course he hit the gravel down at the previous round in Tasmania, so looking to reclaim some of those missing points as he flashes across the line. It's not going to be enough. Mitchell Carr is going to end up on top of the timesheet, so what a great result for the privateer. Recapping there, Mitchell Carr takes pole with a 1:11.272 from Curtin, Nick Waters and Rick Olsen.
Congratulations, your first pole position for the year.
Yeah, I'm stoked, you know, but I've had the right package underneath me the whole time. The Triumph is working really good. I've got the right crew, so I'm not surprised, but I'm happy, but I am in a way because it's really good competition out there.
Superbike, a Super Pole underway. QBE Insurance sponsoring the Super Pole shootout for our Superbike competitors. Cole Odendahl, the Gas Racing New South Wales Compensation Lawyers Superbike. Kevin McGee, I suppose you never rode with a QC riding pillion or the need for a barrister on your bike? No, not really. We were back in the cigarette days, Ken. We can't talk about them anymore, but Cole Odendahl, Queenslander, he's one of the top privateers in the category, teaming up this year with Jeff Windsor, who put some very rapid motorcycles together. Of course, Jeff's Auto Spares, that's the Gas in the Gas Racing team, and Cole Odendahl, teammate with Craig Coxall this year in that squad. And his first chance at Super Pole, be a few nerves there. Notice when he came out under the arch, Kevin McGee, here's the QBE arch now. Lots of photographers, lots of pressure there. How do you focus in that situation? Yeah, it's just, you're looking at everything straight in front of you. You just don't worry about a thing apart from putting the lap together and not looking like a goose. Of course, that was Troy Herfoss heading out. He's the man that lies currently second in the championship on the Team Suzuki GSX-R 1000 as Odendahl comes through to complete his lap, flashes past the checkered flag, and the timing monitor says that he's managed to do that in a 1:08.641, so fractionally quicker than what he did in normal qualifying. So one of the first riders to actually improve his time in a Super Pole shootout. Yeah, it can make it work for you. Do a bit of time, then
then you really look forward to the races after a qualifying effort like that. Herfoss starting off on his hot lap.
Yeah, Odendale quicker than he was in the first qualifying session, managed to go a little bit quicker in the second. Troy Herfoss, he struggled here at Hidden Valley for the man that's second in the championship on arguably the most powerful superbike in the field. Phil Tainton prepared Team Suzuki GSX-R 1000, but maybe we're expecting a little bit much. It's his rookie superbike season. He won the Supersport Championship last year. When you think he's only commencing his third full season of road racing, it's a pretty commendable effort.
Yeah, it's really good for Troy Herfoss. Jamie Stouffer there, he's headed off to start his warm-up lap before his hot one. Yeah, Herfoss is really climbing up through the ranks quickly and got a lot of experience on bikes and now just learning the finer arts of road racing.
Well, very talented rider, lots of natural ability. Treats his racing very seriously. Got a personal trainer, one of the fittest men in motorcycling. Flashes across the line. What's he been able to do? Actually, not a bad time, a 108.341. His best time in normal qualifying was a 108.131, so down a couple of tenths, but I think heading in the right direction. Jamie Stouffer, he wanted a man that's got plenty of talent, multiple dirt track Australian titles to his name, 2 Australian Superbike Championships, 2 Australian Super Sport Championships, and he's ridden for nearly all the factory teams. In the Honda team this year, Ducati last year, spent a couple of seasons with Yamaha and before that Kawasaki, so a man in demand, and says he really likes this new Honda, really taken to it. Mind you, he liked the Ducati last year, didn't he?
Yeah, as long as it's a good bike, Jamie will be there. You can see he's really putting in on this lap, got the bike moving around a bit, not too much. That's Robbie Bugden heading off for his hot lap out from the QBE Arch.
Of course, Robbie Bugden, 3-time New Zealand Superbike champ. There's a fair bit of championship material in this Superbike field. Of course, the top 8 fighting out for Super Pole here at Hidden Valley. 2.9 kilometres around, but the front straight is 1 kilometre long. It makes up for nearly a third of the whole circuit as Stouffer flashes across the line. Let's see what he's able to do. Brilliant time. Stouffer with a 107.518. Wow, Kevin McGee. He was only able to do a 107.85 in normal qualifying. He's found 0.3 of a second in one lap.
Yeah, he really did put in that one, but kept the flow up around the back of the circuit, which is the most important thing.
Robbie Bugden, he's been very strong this meeting, coming off injury in the, well, it wasn't an off-season for him. He's done more racing in the off-season than anybody else in the field because he goes across to New Zealand and competes in their championship. Had a really bad break in his leg about Boxing Day. He was off the bike for, I think, only 30 days in total, but still suffering a little with it, but quite liking this Hidden Valley circuit. And because he's done so much racing in our pre-season, as Ben Attard departs the QBE Super Pole Bridge, but as I was saying with Robbie Bugden, he's got a lot of match fitness, a lot of race fitness, which you just can't replicate in the training room, can you?
Exactly, and it's in the gym. You don't need the reflexes, you just need the muscle. Like this all comes down to timing and flow and reflexes, and that's one thing you can only get on the bike.
Did you find that in your racing days? As Robbie Bugden flashes across the line, just have a look at his time, a 107.974. Probably a little bit disappointing. Probably wanted to do a little bit better than that. But did you find whatever training you did, once you actually got out on the bike, there were muscles that were hurting that you didn't even think you had?
Precisely. I basically really hated gyms pretty much the whole time. I'd rather go and cut a trailer load of wood than go to the gym.
Well, these guys here, hopefully they won't be cutting a trailer load of wood. They're going to have to run a fair bit off the track if they want to do that. Ben Attard on the ice-style natural Aprilia. Interesting addition to their team this weekend, Kevin McGee. Warren Willing, a name you'd be very familiar with, working out of the Aprilia garage and bringing his wealth of experience. Of course, crew chief with Team Roberts, top racer in his day, and you can see the improvement in this bike out on the track with Warren Willing's input.
Yeah, he'll know a lot about that bike, especially from all his Grand Prix experience, and yeah, very clever man, Warren Willing, and great asset for the team.
And Ben Attard, new lease of life too, his bike getting more competitive. Attard flashes across the line, excellent time, a 107.647. It's only second now to Jamie Stouffer, so Attard holding on to a P2 start. Depending on what the likes of Allerton and Waters can do, is still to come. But Ben Attard actually holds a lap record here in the Super Stock 1000 category from last year, so he knows his way around Hidden Valley. Got Warren Willing in the team, and that Aprilia is getting better and better. As to, of course, his is our championship leader, Glenn Allerton, on this amazing Procon Maxima Oils BMW. Straight out of the box, he's been competitive, but it's a pretty good bike just in production form.
Yeah, they're definitely a really nice 1000cc sports bike, the Beamer. Wayne Maxwell headed out there, and as you know, they're in reverse order, so it's the 8th fastest guy out first, and they run down the order to the fastest guy, so the pressure mounts as the session unfolds.
Well, Allerton was 3rd quickest in regulation qualifying. Wayne Maxwell was 2nd fastest, and Maxwell has become Mr. Superpole of late. Let's have a look at what Allerton's able to achieve as he flashes past the checkered flag. Timing monitor says a 107.663. Probably a little bit disappointed with that. I think he would have hoped for better. He did a 107.6 in
Maxwell's
regulation.
got a problem. There's a bit of smoke come out of the back of the bike. Then he sat up, put his hand up. There's no one behind him. He's out there on his own, but he's looking back at the track to see what's going on. He knows it's no good. He's just going to probably chuck the thing against the wall and head off. Very disappointed, Wayne Maxwell.
I'd say that was a very restrained Wayne Maxwell. Kevin McGee's not looking too happy. Just about to see the steam coming out from under the helmet, and that's a pretty purposeful walk back to the pits. Last rider out on track, though, Josh Waters on the Team Suzuki GSX-R 1000. He was quickest in regulation qualifying with that amazing 107.385. Fastest ever lap around this Hidden Valley circuit by a motorcycle. Absolutely set the track alight in that qualifying session. Now he's got to do it all in this one-lap dash. He'll know that Wayne Maxwell is out of action. He's still got to keep it neat because he'd want a front row start.
Yeah, can't let that distract you either. And this is the flowy part of the circuit around the back. Josh has got that left braking foot out to help him into the turns. Did that on the first corner and doing it around the back of the circuit also. So really trying to lay down a time right around through the back here. Got to be economic with lines too. Can't use all the track in some places.
Yeah, I asked Josh why he hung the leg out like that, because we see Valentino Rossi doing it. He says, oh, well, if Rossi does it, it looks good. I might as well also.
Yeah, there he goes again. It definitely works. It just helps him get the bike turned in, and Josh heads out of the last turn. Bit of a wheelie there and hard up through the gears down over the line.
Let's have a look at the time as he flashes past the checkered flag, and it's a 107.514. That's good enough for pole position. He knows it. So Josh Waters takes pole by 4 1/1000ths of a second from Jamie Stouffer on the Team Honda Racing Fireblade. Then it's Ben Attard on the Aprilia, Glenn Allerton on the Procon Maxima BMW, Robbie Bugden on the Team Suzuki, Troy Herfoss, his teammate, also on one of the GSX-R 1000s, Odendahl and Maxwell.
Josh, congratulations, your first pole position for the year. It looked like hard work out there.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It sure was hot out there, so we've got tomorrow 2 17-lap races. We're going to be really buggered at the end, but Team Suzuki did a fantastic job. The GSX-R 1000 is great, and we look forward to tomorrow now.
QBE presents the Viking Group Australian Superbike Championship, proudly brought to you by Motul and International Entertainment Group.